I must admit to feeling somewhat emotional this afternoon. For those who have been following my stories, I posted last Friday that I'd completed the first draft of my book, Strong, Clear and Unapologetic. And today I completed the second draft. And let me know if this has ever happened to you. You know when you get into that flow, if you're doing something creative, where it's like you step aside and information just flows through you. You know, you stop being that critical, judgmental, questioning part of your brain, and everything just flows, and hours literally feel like minutes. That's happened today. And I must admit to being very grateful for my mother for encouraging me, making me do touch typing when I left school, because there were some moments today when I was just literally my fingers just flying across the keyboard. The reason I feel emotional about this is that in one of the chapters today, I suddenly realized how lucky we are as midlife women who have already experienced our menopause transition, and to understand the power of pure feminine leadership. I want to use the word divine feminine leadership, but it sounds a bit esoteric. But it truly is this unapologetic feminine leadership. Do you know, when my mother was going through menopause, they didn't talk about it. And I've spoken to many women who've said their mothers didn't talk about it. You know, when my mother got married, there really were no opportunities for women to take on leadership roles, because in many organisations, particularly in the public service in Australia, and the minute a woman got married, it was just considered she was going to have babies and a husband to care for her, and so she was overlooked. My mother didn't have access to maternity leave, and she didn't have access to childcare. It wasn't until my sister was old enough to go into daycare that she could go back to work and then worked her way up within her organisation. So by the time she was 50, she was holding down a really powerful leadership position in her company. But she went through all that menopause challenges quietly on her own. Us now, have the knowledge, the platform, and the wisdom and experience and intuition to truly step up into this. You know, right now I'm also creating menopause in the workplace seminars for a big tech company, and I feel very privileged in the fact that we can share the menopause information to women who are beginning this journey. We have to create the narrative. We need to talk about this. We need to work with companies who can support women through menopause at the most powerful leadership time of their lives. We didn't have to go to school to learn how to be good leaders, because we lived it. We have shared experiences, we have wisdom, we've been through the highs and the lows, we know how to multitask, we know how to work through tiredness, we know how to stop arguments between children, we know how to balance household budgets and not overspend. We inherently know that. And as we go through our menopause transition and our brain recalibrates, we simply don't care about things that are unimportant. We care more deeply about things that are important to our families, to our communities, to our corporations, and to our governments. We don't need to put up with the BS. We don't need to play the game. But in order to do that, we have to be strong physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We need to be clear in our thinking and not held back by the people, the words and events of our past who told us we weren't worthy to have this role. And we need to be unapologetic in the words we use and the power we have. And I know for many women that can be scary, but we are the generation that's going to drive the change, because the change is not going to happen to us. Nobody out there is going to make changes for us older women, for those of us in midlife, in corporations to open the door for us. They're not going to. We have to create the change through us. We've got to be the loud people. We have to be the ones to show the way. We are the ones who are creating the way our daughters and our granddaughters and our great-granddaughters go through the menopause transition. We are the ones that are going to be clearing the path for them to have support within corporate and in their jobs, where we'll have things like menopause support for women, just like we have maternity leave for parents, for women, and paternity leave for parents now. The same thing will happen with menopause. But because when companies and governments support women through the menopause transition, companies, government, communities, and families thrive. They thrive. And so now it's the change. And as I said, I became really emotional because I thought, we're the ones that are going to change this. We, the women in midlife, we're going to change the narrative because we've got the knowledge, we've got the platform. We will question now those doctors who had no menopause training in when they were at university, no fault of their own. That's just the way it was. But we will question them. Whereas before, I know with my mum, she just accepted what the doctor said. We won't do that. And that's where the strength comes from, our confidence to believe in our wisdom, our intuition, our worth, and our value. I can't wait to share the book with you. For those who have already put their hands up to pre-read this, we'll probably be ready maybe at the end of next week. And I'll send you a PDF copy, but let me know below if you want to be one of those readers that will read and give me some feedback and perhaps some testimonials, because we are the ones. We're going to make the change. We're going to make the change, and we're going to make it better for our daughters and our granddaughters.